Good evening, now, loves. Caught me off guard there. Hope you had a wonderful day. It's Cynthia DeLeonardo, host of Bear This and That Relationship Radio. I want to talk to you tonight. I've been talking on my radio show, but just in case you don't get to listen to the show, I'm going to talk to you now, eyeball to eyeball. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take out some of the stuff that I covered in yesterday's show, which is single and searching. There's so much that goes into single and searching. There's a lot of work to be done to prepare for love and to prepare our minds for what do we want? What are we looking for? When we define what we want, it's a lot easier to find it, isn't it? If we know what we want, it's like going grocery shopping and not knowing what you want before you get there. It's a little long, right? Up and down every single aisle. Fickle, maybe you get some things, put some things back, right? Relationships are exactly the same way. We have to define and know exactly what we want. Whatever it is you want, it's all good. But what you want must be clearly defined in your mind, whether you want something steady, whether you're not ready to have a commitment, wherever you are on the scale of relationships, just define it. Once you define it, you'll find it. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is I love it when you talk to me on Facebook. I love it when you ask me questions because I love that. I love questions. Feel free to send me questions. You can actually go to my website now, has a contact form where you could ask me a question there or anywhere you are, Twitter, wherever you like to be. Pose a question to me. It's my thing. Love it. This question that I received yesterday, I want to share this with you. This falls right in line of exactly what I was talking about yesterday. It's relationships and really clearing your mind and trying to move forward. And how do you meet somebody? Your mind's got to be clear and ready to move forward in order to meet somebody. This is a male that wrote into me, and this relationship is dated 3 years ago. He was dating someone, and his words to me is he was betrayed. She married a friend of his. Obviously, he was very much in love, and right now he is still dealing with heartbreak. And he hasn't been able to move forward. According to what he says, is he's tried to do some of the things that I suggested, and he just has not been able to. It is a process. It's not something that can happen overnight. It's a process that has to be practiced daily. So let me go over with you exactly how I answered him. The wonderful thing about the heart is this, is that it always desires love. I missed one thing about what he said. This is important. He's not bitter. I don't think he is. He wants to get married this year. I think this was great what he said. I mean, when I read what he said to me, I saw great news all over this note. I felt horrible about the heartbreak. It is terrible to hear these things. It happens. But we can't let it stop our life. We can't stop living because they happen. But the fact that he still wants love in his life, and he wants not to date, he wants to make a commitment and to get married. Marriage was the word he used. So I think this is wonderful that he sees this for himself, because what that means is it's going to happen. It will happen for him. The wonderful thing about our hearts is it always desires love. The thing that blocks what the heart wants is our minds. It's our minds, you see, because it's the experience of our minds that reminds us of the negative occurrence that we had, the negative experience, our minds, even when our heart is saying, I really want to do this. I'm in love, can't you see? Our mind sometimes has a way of stepping in and saying, not this time. I'm never going to fall back here again. And the mind will actually stop a natural, beautiful, organic emotion from moving forward. And we have the power and the great ability to do that with ourselves. And so many of us do it and fall into, it's really, a mind trap is what I like to call it, because that's what it is. It's our mind just trapping us in a place where we really, really don't want to be. So I said to him, in order for him to move forward, he's got to make peace with her. And it doesn't mean that, knocking on her door and giving her a kiss hello. What this means is he's got to make peace and wish her well. Even if it's in a note form, wish her well. In his mind, he needs to wish her well. Wish her well. She's gone. She married. There's no chance that this relationship is mending. It's over. It's final. So whenever you have something that's final like that, it forces us to move on, and we must move on when you have something like this. So he's got to, in his mind, instead of being angry at what happened and feeling like he's been deprived, because that's what I heard too, like I gave so much, he feels like he was really cheated of a life with her. And I guess it should have been him. But that's not what happened. He seems wonderful. We're all wonderful. And you know what the bottom line is on life? We all deserve to be happy. Isn't that right? We deserve to be happy, for Pete's sake. We need this. There's no such thing as wanting to do this whole life thing alone and without love. Life is for love. That's what makes living so much fun. However you get love, it doesn't matter how you get it. But you need this emotion in your life. We need it. So, here's how you get it. He needs to heal by forgiving. And it's a process. And what that means, and what I also said to him, was this. The exercise that I asked him to do by wishing her well and taking all of those pieces that had to do with the negativity in their relationship and removing them from his space, from his brain space, from his mind, you see. And when you do that, when you separate what happened and take yourself out of what happened, you're able to kiss it goodbye and put a nice big bow on it and ship it off, okay? And you almost have to visualize doing that. It's a process. It's practice every single day. Because my guess is, when you've had a negative experience, every time you think about it, you guess what happens? You get upset every time you think about it. So how could it ever go away? When you practice this, wishing people well, removing all the pieces from your mind on the negativity, it neutralizes the space, you see. It does. It's like in our house when we clear things out, right? Garage sales, clear the space for something new to come in. Nothing new can come into your space until you've cleaned the negative stuff out. Nothing healthy can move in, I can tell you that much. If something healthy moves in while you're still got all this clutter stuff going on past relationships, what happens? The healthy relationships gets mixed in all the old all the old stuff. It's got nowhere to go but to go there with all that stuff. It's all mixed in together like pea soup. Just like pea soup. It's all in there together. And that's another show. That's a show, though. That's another show when you go into a relationship and you're trying to have a healthy relationship, but you still got all this remnants of old past relationships that were unsuccessful. It has not a chance to be successful. That's the truth. So I asked him to practice that, and I was realistic, and it's a process, and you know what, it's work, and I think it's even writing it down just to remind ourselves, because if you really want to move forward, that's the way to accelerate things and get it done and move forward, so that he can be in a relationship where he's again having fun. Another thing he said is he's not trusting. You see, when you clear this and neutralize things in your mind, trust is no longer a factor anymore. Of course you trust. You're now dealing with a fresh slate. So why wouldn't you trust? Right? On my show, I talked about preparing yourself for love. And the other thing that we need to do is really listen to our self-talk. And I think about everything. You know, in general, I think we don't realize we say things in habit, and we say things unconsciously without realizing the impact that it really has on our lives. And that's positive talk towards yourself, positive love talk. I'm going to ask you, have you ever said, there's no one there for me? I can't find anybody. What's your self-talk? What's your self-love talk? Have you ever been guilty of saying, I'm never going to meet anybody, when you're in conversation with people? Have you ever been guilty of saying that to yourself quietly? You know, that self-love talk that we hear ourselves talking all day about a love life. Okay, do we beat ourselves up about not going out on a date, or not finding love, or not finding the love we want, or all of the frustrations? Think about what that sounds like to your mind, because you're listening to that stuff over and over. It's repetitive, you know. We have our own best attention, don't we? Not only do we have our own best attention, we believe everything we say, right? we're our biggest fans. So when we say something, we believe it. Hook, line, and sinker. Sometimes, and these types of things sink us in our minds, you see. They really, really do. As far as any negative self-talk is not good towards anything. And it's a matter of catching ourselves. It's something that I don't think we realize it until we start to take note. I did this many, many, many years ago, a study that I actually did on myself many years ago, probably over 20 years ago. And I did it on my mom when I was a kid. When I was a teenager, I started writing down all of her negative words for the day. Gives you an idea what kind of kid I was. We believe everything we're saying. And guess what? When we're talking to people, they start to believe everything we're saying too. So if you're talking to your best pal and you're saying there's no good men out there's no good women out there, I'm never going to meet anybody because there is nobody good enough for me. Guess what? Everybody's like, oh yeah, you're right. There is nobody out there. They sit and they agree with you. So where do you go from there? Is what starts to happen is that plays itself out, you see. That becomes a story that we write to. Okay? We're the author of our own storybooks. So that actually happens. It's really dangerous, our self-talk. I am so serious on this stuff. What we're saying to ourselves and to people all the time really truly plays out. It can't help but do that, because what happens is we believe it. It's where we put our belief system, and whatever that talk is. So I would say right now, put a date on it even. It's okay if you're off by some, but the fact that it's positive, write down who you want to find him or her, and you'll get close to what you're looking for when you define them. Whether the kids, no kids, whatever your prerogative is, define it positively and know with no uncertainty that it's going to happen. Boom. It's going to happen. Positive talk brings great results. Positive talk brings great results. Positive thinking. We're our biggest fan. Just remember that. You are your biggest fan. And if you're going to believe anybody, you're going to believe yourself over anybody. And we have our biggest attention at all times. Just define what you want. Define what you want, whoever they are. Their traits, what you like, they should have children, not so much. Whatever your prerogative is, just define it. Write it down so you're clear on it. And think, yes, I'm going to find this person. And even go so far as to put a time on it. And don't be disappointed if you don't find them in that time, but set your mind up for success. That yes, love is out there for all of us. It is. But you have to believe that it's going to happen before it will happen. And the other thing that I will say to you is, because in this case with the note that I got, when love does surface for you, be ready for it. Be ready for it. Okay? Be prepared. It's serious stuff. So make sure that you don't fear it because of your past experience. Sometimes we have fears about becoming vulnerable, but we must become vulnerable in order to feel the deep impact on how beautiful love is. Okay, that's when you really feel the benefits of love, is when you allow yourselves to be vulnerable. So prepare for it. Clear your mind for it. Clear that space. Let somebody new in and give them all you got. Because that's what it's about, you know. We can't be worried about how long it's going to last, may last, not last. And I know a lot of us go into relationships thinking that way. There are a lot of us that think that way about our marriages every day. Like, wow, how long is this going to last? Never think that way about any of your relationships. Enjoy it every day. Every day. Just love it, love it. Love on your relationships and give it all you got. And I'll leave you with a big mwah. Lots of kisses and hugs. Clear your space. Clear your mind so that your heart can make its grand debut. I love you. Thank you for listening to me and being here with me. And I love questions. So you can go to bearthisthandthatrelationship.com or hit me up on Twitter or Facebook. Good night.